Hey guys, this is Jason Creel and you're watching The Lawn Care Life. Today I want to go over some do's and don'ts, actually 3 of each. 3 do's, 3 don'ts for starting up in the lawn care business. Stay tuned. Alright, so there's a lot of people that start a lawn business every year. Some are successful, some are not. So let's talk about some of the do's and don'ts of starting a lawn care business. We go over the do's first. Alright, number 1, do exceed expectations. I get reminded of this often in the lawn care business, and this is this truth. When you start out, chances are you've got more time on your hands than you do money. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, when you get established, you might have more money coming in, but you're real busy. You don't have time to do as much. So when you're starting out, you've got plenty of time. You don't have that many customers. So there's really no excuse to not do a great job taking care of these lawns because you got plenty of time. So let me give you an example. At times when I was starting out, I would possibly write a handwritten note when I got a new customer and put a $5 gift card in there, something like that. I don't do that anymore. Maybe I still should, but I had plenty of time on my hands. I wanted to make sure that customer was happy when I first got them, because I didn't have many customers and I had plenty of time, so I had time to go ahead and take care of the little things like that to make sure that customer had a good experience. Number 2, do let people know that you're in the business. Okay, if you're starting a lawn business, you need to let your family and friends know, whether in person, on social media, whatever. Let them know, hey, I'm in business. And you know what? Some of them are not going to support you and not want to use you, but some of them will. And so that is great. If some of these people they're willing to give you a chance to help you get going. So let them know and show them how professional you're going about this business, because that might be some of your first customers to help you get going. And number 3, do be reliable. I'm going to talk about in the don'ts some of the things that you don't want to do, and why this is so important. Obviously, people want to do business with somebody that's reliable, but particularly the kind of customers we're going after, the ones that are willing to pay a little more for quality, they're not interested in having somebody who's not going to show up when they say they are. So, it's very important, even when you get big, small, whatever, to be reliable, be trustworthy. And like I said, if you can't, if for whatever reason you're unable to show up on the day that you were supposed to, that you have to at least communicate and let them know that. All right, so what are the don'ts? This is important, and I talk about it a lot, but don't compete on price. This is such a temptation when you're starting out, and honestly, I still find myself wanting to compete on price sometimes too. But there's a number of reasons why you don't want to compete on price, but I'm just going to hit on one today, and that is the type of customer it attracts. Now, for instance, if you go to a grocery store and they have something on sale, there's nothing wrong with buying stuff on sale. I do it all the time. But the problem is, we're not running a grocery store. We're running a lawn care business. We can't be most lawn businesses are not able to be a huge volume lawn business. Okay, so you need to keep your prices up, because there's a limited number of labor hours that you can put in, even when you hire somebody. And eventually, if you're not charging enough, then when you start hiring people, you're actually not making enough profit to pay for all the overhead that comes when having an employee and extra equipment and all those things. So it's very important to keep your prices up. A lot of it too is just psychological. The perception it gives to the customer when you charge a low price, it just gives a perception that you are a low price lawn care provider, and for a lot of people, that's not what they want. They want somebody that's reliable, professional, and they will pay extra for it. For the ones who want somebody that's low price, chances are that's not the customer that you want to build your business around. So it's very important not to compete on price. Now, does that mean you can't give a discount the first time or something like that if you feel like that's something you need to do to market your business? I'm not opposed to those things. I wouldn't do that just for the sake of doing it, but if you feel like you need to do that to get the business, then I'm okay with that. The number 2 don't for the lawn care business is don't waste money. Now, what do I mean by that? Let me give you a story to maybe communicate. The other day, I got a phone call from my business. I answered, and they said, yeah, you've been recommended to us. And I thought, oh, great. I believe it was a high school student from one of the local football teams, and they were looking for advertisers. So maybe that's how I was recommended. You know, so anyway, it's debatable whether I was actually recommended or not, but I didn't care. He certainly has the right to call on me for advertising. And he said, hey, we want to know if you'd like to advertise at our football games this coming fall. And I said, no, that's not something I'm gonna do. To be honest, I don't have a marketing budget for things like that. You know, he pressed me a little bit, and I said, you know what, let me just be honest with you. I don't think I'll get a single customer from doing that. You know, and I didn't want to be rude to him, and I wasn't trying to be rude. He said, oh, I understand that. He said, I sure wish you'd give us an opportunity. And I said, well, no, I'm not going to, but I appreciate the phone call. You know, it's stuff like that, is sponsoring Little League baseball teams, things like that, all that is totally fine. If you want to do that, it is 100% totally fine. I understand you want to be a part of the community, you want to sponsor things. But in my opinion, as a young business, unless you have extra income to spend, then I don't think it's a smart business decision, okay? If you want to look at that as a tax write-off, if you want to look at it as a donation, that's fine. If you want to think that that is marketing, then to me, it's not marketing. It is a waste of money from a business standpoint. I mean, you know, I don't know, maybe when you get big and you have this community presence and you sponsor things like that just to support the community in some way, I guess it can give you some benefit as a business. But as a conversion, and that's why I tell people, I want my marketing money going to something that converts into customers. Because as a young business, as a small business, when you're starting out, you don't have money just to give away. And I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you have money to give. I didn't have money to give away. I still don't have money just to give away to things like that. So I don't mind them asking. But, you know, I just thought about it. You know, if I'm at a football game on a Friday night, high school football game, and I actually went to one last year for the first time in a long time. You're around a lot of people and they're watching the game in the fall. Now that's one problem, you know, it's the fall. How many times can you picture this conversation happen in a high school football game? You're sitting there and you say, hey, wow, did you see that great play? That guy looks like such a good player. I bet he's a Division I prospect. You know, oh yeah, he looks like a Division I prospect. By the way, I just realized I need to get a lawn care provider, and they just announced one over the loudspeaker as a sponsor of this game. I think I'll call him. You know, I've never actually heard that conversation happen. I'm not sure that conversation has ever happened. In my opinion, when you go to a football game, you're not thinking about your lawn, and the fall is, you know, really not a great time to be advertising for lawn care service anyway. So, you know, I feel the same way about going in a restaurant and they have a TV screen up there running ads. You know, when I'm at a restaurant, people are wanting to eat, they're wanting to talk, they're not looking up at the TV screen thinking, I need to call my lawn care provider. You know, so I don't care how many thousands of people are gonna see my ad or how many thousands of people at the football game are gonna hear my name, my business name called out over the loudspeaker. The truth is, I'm gonna estimate that 0 of those 1,000 are interested in calling a lawn care company on a Friday night in the fall. I think other things, equipment, you know, to me, it's too hard to say that, hey, when you're starting out a lawn business, you should spend X amount of dollars on a lawnmower. Does that mean 2,000? Does that mean 5,000? Does that mean 8,000? Well, there's too many factors. A lot of it depends on how much money you have, what kind of budget are you dealing with. But the point is, when you're starting out, you want to be wise if you're on a tight budget as far as how you spend your money on equipment, on marketing, on those things. You know what? And once you get established and once you have plenty of money coming in, if you want to sponsor that football team or that Little League baseball team, go ahead and do it. Just don't expect that you're going to get a single phone call from it, because I imagine, my guess is, you will not get any. And the number 3 don't lose vision of your plan. You know, I think part of what gets people in the lawn business is a little bit of complacency. So maybe things are starting to go well, or you had a pretty good first year, now it's winter time, and you sort of sit around all winter and get complacent. You know, that's a time where you can be planning, what can I do better? You know, so don't lose focus of what you're trying to accomplish, of your plan, and always keep learning and trying to improve and to do better. You know, one way to do this is to study businesses that are successful, whether in your industry or another industry, if I can look at them and say, you know what are the successful lawn care companies doing? Whether it's in my city or some other state or whatever, what are they doing? How come they're able to have so much success? How come they're able to get the high-paying customers? What are they doing different than I'm doing? So, you know, become a student, learn from other people, and always keep working. You know, like I said, yeah, you obviously want to have some time off, maybe in the winter time or during the summer or whatever. You know, there's other things. It's not just eat, sleep, and breathe lawn care business. But at the same time, I don't want to take 4 months off in the winter without any focus on what can I do better, how can I improve, what can I do better next year to make this business more profitable. If these things are helpful, I like to hear from you guys in the comments. What are some do's and don'ts you would recommend? And if you hadn't done so, subscribe to the channel and check out the suggested videos popping up now. Thanks a lot.